Okay, guys, I finished episode 2 of the Marie Kondo show on Netflix, and this was the Okiyamas. And this one made me tear up a whole bunch too. I don't know about you guys, but I really was like, at the very beginning when they interviewed the couple, and they were like, the woman said, it's just so nice to like not have to really talk to each other, not worry about each other, and not say anything to each other. And I thought, wow, that's not a relationship I want to retire to. So hey, I just felt so overwhelmed by their their lack of communication and connection. Okay, so episode 2, Marie Kondo show. If you watch as the woman shares that she loves, she says, decorating the house for Christmas makes me happy. If you haven't seen this episode, she like over collects Christmas items because she wants every area of her home to be decorated. And she talks about the memories of her mom decorating their home for Christmas and how important that was to them. To be honest, as a counselor, just sitting with her in that moment, even though I'm just watching her, I realized that there was either some trauma or some loss in the grief process of her mom passing, or something that happened during that time. And that was her way of still being connected to her mother. And so often we collect things in our lives and then we hold on to them because we think it brings us closer to that person who's passed or the person who's no longer in our lives for whatever reason. And it ends up becoming something that it's a physical weight that is a reflection of that emotional weight that we're experiencing. I always become emotional. I've only watched 2 episodes. I say always. The 2 episodes when Marie sits down and is saying thank you to the home and sharing gratitude to the home. I'm gonna have to do this tomorrow in my house because it's just amazing. You feel that energy. You feel that reverence. Again, I'll use the word again, reverence and respect for that space. Instead of just seeing our home as this place where we just keep things, to really honor it and create sort of this, I'm going to use the word holy, but it's not holy because it's not something you wouldn't, I don't know, but I think you guys get it. Just this sense of the space has this energy and we want it to be positive and thanking it. So I'll find better wording for that later. And if you can think of it, if you've watched it and you know what I'm talking about and you can put words to it, let me know. Marie talks about when you put all of a certain category of things out into one space. So in particular, Mrs. Okiyama's clothes. She had clothes in probably about 4 different rooms, and she puts them all on top of a bed, and they literally almost touch the ceiling. And Marie said this is the largest pile I've had of any of my clients. That to me was just really impactful, that we need that shock of like, whoa, I didn't realize it was this bad, to stimulate us. Now, most of us are not at that level. It seems like this woman, she talked about that she shopped for therapy. She shopped because what did she say? I love clothes. As a child, I used to do paper dolls and I would cut out their clothing and design things. And so I became that paper doll. And I wanted to continue to change how I looked. And how much that says about herself of not being able to really find who she is and what she likes or what she wants, and then constantly changing it. But I think at the end she sort of figured that part out. She, as her son is like pulling out all her jackets, she says, it makes me feel so good that I have them. And how we sometimes place feeling good into items that we have instead of experiences that we have, instead of those positive connections that we have with people. And so, like, I felt, it's judgmental for me to say, like, oh, I felt really sad for her, but I can understand how we can get there, and especially an empty nester. I totally understand how they get there. But wow, I was just really impacted by that. I like the husband says, Marie really challenged us. Is this really something we want to take with us into our future? And you do have to ask yourself that when you're decluttering, when you are fixing up your home. And I think, and what we're going to be talking about in the clutter course coming up is beyond physical things, people in our lives, emotions we're still holding on to, memories that we haven't really been able to settle with, and I'm going to say let go of, but really be able to bring peace to, are those things we want to carry with ourselves into the future. And we really have to ask ourselves those questions. So we'll be talking about that in the course for sure. If you keep it, treasure it. I was blown away by this sort of mindset. If you're going to keep something, you need to be treasuring it. And it goes back to the first episode where it was like their wedding DVD they hadn't even seen in several years. But this is something they should treasure and want to watch, and helps. It actually really does help with connection when we look at those photos and we watch that movie and we feel that sense of love and connection again. So if there's something in your home you're keeping, to actually treasure it, to know why it's there, to know why you're keeping it. I can't say that for our home. I can't say that I know why I have all these things, or what everything's like, what their purpose is. And my husband actually watched half of this episode with me, and I looked at him and I was like, we've got work to do. And he kind of just smiled. I was like, I have work to do. When we moved here, I kept so much, because every move of my life, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I am a kid of a military family. So we moved every 2 to 3 years. In fact, the longest I'd ever stayed in one place was the 4 years of college until my adult life. And I kept everything, because to me, that's where the memories stayed, because that's what I saw generationally. The women in my family kept everything. And so I got to the point where I kept everything and I didn't even know what I had, and I didn't treasure it anymore. And honestly, it lost its meaning and its value emotionally and mentally in that sense. And when I was cleaning out my mom's home, I actually was going through everything, and I found so much of that stuff. I mean, literally a Rubbermaid tub, like a huge plastic container, like from IKEA, of notes I had written from like 4th, 5th grade on to friends. And you know how you used to like fold them up origami style and stuff? I have so many of these. It's crazy to me how much I kept. So, yeah, I was just like, you can't treasure it if it's stuck in a Rubbermaid container, and I'm never taking it out and enjoying it. And I literally just said thank you to the letters and just threw them all into the trash bag, because I didn't need to open them and read them and go, oh, what was that about? That would have served me no purpose and brought me no joy. If anything, it might remind me of memories I didn't want to reflect upon again, because I really had laid a lot of things to peace. So if you keep something, treasure it. This will be part of the course too, of how to understand. This will be in the second course, when we actually put things in action, like how to really treasure the items you have, and how we do that. Because some things do have to be put away in drawers and things like that, but how you can still treasure them. At the end, they kept talking about like we're working together, and that was the piece that was missing in the very beginning, when they were saying, you know, oh, we're at that place where we don't have to really talk, and he was very much about happy wife, happy life, and I just thought, oh, this is so like, I feel my energy being drained from watching this couple interact, and I know I watch these things as a couples therapist, but I know other people are impacted by it the same way. So when you watch this couple, if you feel the same way, like, oh, from the beginning to the end, and the end, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I think that they had a lot of energy after cleaning up everything, and they were having a lot of fun together, which I think is excellent for empty nesters to finally reconnect physically. You could just see they just seemed more in tuned and lighter and wanting to be around each other, and those are good signs. They enjoyed each other more. So those are the notes for the second episode of the Marie Kondo show, but the KonMari method. I am loving watching these. I am very mindful not to binge watch it, because I know I'm going to miss, like, in between the episode 1 to 2, I really had a lot of thinking to do about it. And because before you start to declutter, you really need to understand why, or the clutter will come back. Why are you decluttering? What is the importance of decluttering? And as you start to look at the physical clutter in your life, you start to look at the mental and emotional clutter. And something I realized today in between episode 1 and episode 2, when I really stopped to think, was how much we don't realize that even people can become clutter in our lives. Even certain relationships become clutter. And so I added that into the course as well. That'll be into the one that's January 15th, is being able to look at that as well. That's emotional and mental clutter, isn't it? And it has a physical presence of a person. And that can be hard to say. Well, oh, that's so mean to say that somebody is clutter in our lives. But I think we all can identify a family member or a friend, or no longer a friend, but more of an acquaintance who has kind of become that. And we don't know how to declutter that from our lives. So we'll be talking about that. So, okay. I can't wait to watch the next episode. I'm definitely going to do it again tomorrow. And probably try to pull off 2 again tomorrow. So I want to know what you guys think of that second episode. I literally teared up so many times. I kept looking at my husband, don't you love this? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, yeah, it's great. They're cleaning. Awesome. So, this poor man. Anyways, I will see you guys again soon.